So on this week's episode of Be More Super, the podcast, we're continuing our wonderful interviews for the Netflix show Warrior Nun and showing some more love for the magic that's behind the camera. And this week's guest, she is a production designer and she's worked on many projects from Spider-Man, Night and Day, A Good Year, Kingdom of Heaven, and of course, Warrior Nun. It's Bárbara Pérez-Solero. Bárbara, welcome to the show, my love.
Thank you very much.
And
it's a pleasure being with you.
Do you know what? I'm really excited because, we've had writers on the show. We've had Simon Barry and a lot of people behind the camera. And we've got some of the stunt team coming onto the show next week as well. But we've never had a production designer. So before we jump into all things Warrior Nun, let's talk about, what makes a production designer. And for all the viewers and listeners, what exactly does a production designer do?
Yes. Well, that's a good question because there is a lot of people that doesn't know what we do exactly. Some people think that we do production, and no, not at all. Basically, our job is to visualize what the director or the showrunner has in his mind and materialize it. That means everything that is on the screen that are not the actors is art department. That includes sets, locations, props, everything that they eat, that they smoke, everything, the chair where they are seated, all the decoration, the picture vehicles, everything that is in the image that is not the actors with the word and what they wear, all the makeup and hair. But even so, we have an overall idea of we are the first ones that we get involved in the project. That means that we are the ones that we design a bit, the overall look of the project.
I mean,
and,
you say
with the
you
with
say
the director,
we. You say we, and I can imagine to do that all for one person must be a massive task. So how big is your team as you lead in that as a production designer?
Exactly. Well, it depends a lot of the projects. So each project you need to first you have to. I mean, you are called by the producer or the director. Then you start. Probably the first person who starts is me, is the production designer. That means you evaluate, even either or they give you a budget or you make a budget, depends, and you design how it's going to be, and it depends on the project. Also, the size of your team increases or decreases. So for Warrior Nun, we had a pretty big crew. Because in our department it's also the construction, it's also the set decoration, it's all the props, it's the picture vehicles, it's the greenery, it's a lot, even the visual content, and we have also a lot of link with SFX and with these VFX. So we are almost involving everything that happens all the time on the screen, almost.
And
so in that case, in Warrior Nun, I don't know, we were like 45 people or something like that.
Wow.
In our department.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a big crew.
And you're also credited on IMDb as an art director as well, for a few projects. For example, Spider-Man, Far From Home. So what does an art director do compared to a production designer?
Well, the production designer is the head of the department. So the design, all the design is from the production designer. It's absolutely a team work. You cannot do it by yourself. It doesn't matter if you're genius. Without my team, I am anyone. I'm nobody. So, for example, in Superman, I just did a little. Well, it was big, not too big, but not too little either. It was a set of the beginning for VFX when the car arrives. What does an art director? And the production designer, the art department, it's the production designer on the head, and then it has three main people. That is your, your hand right and hand left, left hand, which is the art director, the set decorator, and the prop and the props department, no, the prop and the prop master. So those are the three people that work very, very closely, and that help you to develop the project, And so the art department normally takes care of more of the construction part. It takes more care about everything that is related to construction and to design, to the drafting and things like that. And then the set decorating bit, it takes care of all what is furnishing and ambience and things like that.
So a lot of work, basically. And this is why I'm so
Yes.
glad you're on the show, Barbara, because when the viewers and as fans watch these amazing shows, we don't realize and we don't comprehend the amount of work that's taken on behind the camera. And I don't think that people like yourself get enough credit from the fans, of the hard work that you do. So was this a path that you always wanted to go down? To become someone that did production design or art and everything like that? Was this something you've always wanted to do?
Well, I've studied fine arts, so I wanted to become a painter. And I come from a very, my family comes from three generations of advertising world. So very related with the image, everything. And then suddenly I started working in art, contemporary art for a few years, but then I went to a shoot, and I discovered that I loved that job, and then I started making films, and I discovered that I loved telling stories, and I love my job, absolutely love my job. I always liked it, to read a lot and to write a lot, but visually, to tell a story visually is so beautiful and so amazing that it is. Then I've fallen completely in love with my job, and it's 30 years that I'm
Wow.
doing this.
30
Yeah.
years and plenty more years to come. What sort of training or background do you need to have to become a production designer? I mean,
Right.
is there actual training that you've got to do specifically for your job?
Right. The lot of us come from very different worlds. Okay, there is people that, for example, when I started, almost didn't exist. It didn't exist a career of production design in Spain in film for film. Now it does. Now you can go through the university and do a career specifically of production designer. Some people comes from the architecture world. Some people are architects. Some people are anything. You can be anything. The only thing you need is uh, you train. I've trained myself during the years. Even if I didn't know, I trained with all these skills that you need of drawing, drafting, using Photoshop and million. Not a lot, because then you have people that specifically they do that, and they are extremely good. So you do a bit of everything, but you don't need, you do need a vision, vision, visual, very important. And I think it's very, very important to have, for me, for example, it's very, very important to have a strong culture of all the arts. That means sculpture, art history, architecture, photography, cinema, of course. All the arts, all the arts help me a lot. I base all my designs with all this background.
I mean, do you think the industry is changing in the way of production design? Because we see, these matte painters becoming extinct now because everything is CGI, and yet we forget that the old, Mary Poppins,
Yeah,
the matte
totally.
painting on that was just awe-inspiring. It really was. So, do you think the industry is changing for the better, or for the worse in the way of your job?
Well, I think probably my job, I
Mm,
will not say disappear, but almost, because probably a machine can do it now already with the IA.
mm,
But um, I don't know. It's changing. The technology has changed so much, but also when we stop using the 35 millimeters, we said,
mm,
"Oh my God, this is going to be, whatever, a drama." And you adapt yourself, and you get adapted, and then I'm half virtual. I'm a 58 years old woman, and I do everything online and digital, so I'm very,
mm,
very, very used to work all the time digitally. So of course, it's going to change, still changing more and more, because the machines are learning very fast to do everything that we do. And to do now, you can do a drawing in 3 minutes. I've tried it already, I've tried it, but it's always a need of from someone to lead, to lead the path, I think.
mm, mm.
So I don't know.
And another thing I just thought of, because obviously you've been in the industry for 30 years, and obviously we've gone from the quality, and you mentioned 35 millimeter. Now everything is near enough in 4K. Has that affected, your job and what you do for the screen?
For sure, absolutely, absolutely. Color-wise, very important. It's nothing to do what the color palette that you used to use for 35 is completely different, because
Mm,
some colors they are really horrible in digital in 4K. So yes, it's nothing to do. It's completely different. You have to relearn how it
mm.
works. With 4K.
Yeah, time is changing. I think with every technology, from phones to computers,
Yes.
I suppose we've got to adapt and carry on. So let's talk about Warrior Nun, because this is a record-breaking show. It was highest rated one for Netflix, and it's just groundbreaking. It really is. How did you get involved with working on the show to begin with?
Right. Well, um, Simon came to Spain, and I don't know how he thought about. Well, I suppose he thought about the Spain, because in the first season it was a lot to do with churches, and I think Spain is related to that. I mean, could be Ireland also, or other countries, or Italy or Greece, or. But well, it was Spain, so he spoke with the Spanish producer. Then the Spanish producer introduced me and other two designers as a choice, so
Hmm.
he could choose. So he interviewed us, and I was the chosen one. I was uh, happy chosen one.
And Simon is such a lovely man. He really, really is. So,
Incredible,
working for him must have been a delight. It really must have been. So, when
absolutely.
starting on a show like Warrior Nun as a production designer, what were the first things that you had to do to get the process going, in
Right.
regards to getting the style and the image that we see now on screen?
Right. What I did basically in the beginning, the first thing, and to clarify my head and to present to Simon, because I didn't know what exactly what's in his head, and he was very open, like letting he let you a lot of freedom to work. Is amazing to
Mm,
work with Simon, completely amazing. So I was the first thing I tried to do is to make a little Bible, with images of the two worlds that I thought that were involved on the show, no. So it was this world of more sci-fi and more futuristic and technology and all this, and for me it was related with glass and with straight lines and with geometry and very cold materials and steel and things like that. And then it was the other world that was all the nuns and their place, and that was with all these ancient world, this long that comes from centuries and centuries of iconography and of what everything related to the church and to the religion, no?
I mean, as I've previously said, the show is visually stunning. It really is. And I'd say the scenes, even without the actors, are a work of art. They really are. So, what has been
Thank
your
you.
favorite sets to design from start to finish?
Yes. They ask me that question. It's very hard for me to answer because we've done a lot of sets, a lot, and well, I think in the first season, one of the most interesting one was the church, the OCS base, because I was telling the story the other day that it was a white church. So I thought when Simon and the Spanish producer took me there, and I said, "Well, but this, it's very white. Everything is very white. We're going to have all these shots and all this, this with all the people with a white wall behind, and during the whole, eight episodes recurring and going back and back and back." So I said, no, 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 this cannot be possible. So we designed all these frescoes, and the story that was going to be told in a book also, it was told. I said, okay, let's do it on the walls. So we told the story of the warrior nuns in the wall, and we painted 70 meters high church.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool, pretty cool. And then in the second season, I enjoy, I don't know, lots of sets. We the church, the Ariel's Cathedral, supposed to be in the script was very like based on a gothic world more than another thing, like typical gothic falling angel thing. But I thought it was much more interesting if we give it another, like a sweet and a twist. And so I went to the brutalism. So we had this beautiful, incredible building in Madrid that is that it was called the Crown of Thorns because of the shape. And so I said, well, this is perfect because it related to everything that has to be told. And so let's see if we can shoot there. So we went there. They said, yes, you can shoot, but we could not do the complete thing. So we used the exterior and the top. And then I built a piece of the top for stands, and we built a whole interior because it was a lot of action and it was very difficult to shoot there. That was probably also one of my favorite. And also well, also the last tunnel with this beautiful huge tunnel with with the cross at the end, and these lights coming, stripes coming from the ceiling, and the ring, the portal there, that was very beautiful, and the ramp, it was very beautiful too. I
Oh,
enjoyed
the
but
floor, the floor. I've got to
yes.
say, the way the floor was, I just thought was spectacular. It really, really was. So, what were the biggest challenges that you faced? To get what you envisioned from paper to screen.
Well, basically, it's always the same challenge. The challenge is to be in budget, so don't spend much more money than you really have. So always to have this communication with the producers, and make sure that you are, you're still in budget. And then you have to deal with all a lot of places were mixed location. They were not, because when you can build a set in a stage, for me that's simpler than when you have to work on a location, because on the location, you have to deal with a lot of factors that you don't have on the stage. The stage is very plain, I mean, the stage, you are the owner of the stage, you do whatever you want. But when you are shooting on for example, a half building on a place, you have to, you have to deal with the location, you have to deal. But basically it was, I mean, we were all so happy, and I had such a incredible team, and Simon is so fabulous, and the DPs were Chris Lavasseur and Imanol. They were so great, and all the directors were great, so we had really good feeling going, and it was very, very pleasant, basically.
So you designed the awesome look of this show, and it all gets built. Do you actually step on set during filming in case anything needs to be changed?
Well, normally I go always. I just present the set, or give up the set to the director and say, here is your set, this is that, I think the best angle is this, or whatever. I have a talk. I spend, I don't know, maybe, the first hours. It depends if how complicated it is. If it depends of the set is involved with construction in many things. I normally don't stay a lot while they are shooting, because I have to be ahead of them, prepping the next one, and everything needs to be ready. So normally I don't spend a lot of time on set, unless there is something very, specific, or a lot of action, or things that needs to be break, or, and repair, and and has a lot going on, or big things with special effects or whatever.
I mean, you mentioned obviously building on a set. So, how much of the show is real locations and how much of it is on set?
I will say 60 on location, 40 build, something like this.
And you mentioned earlier about the challenges of obviously building within real locations. I mean, were there any times where you actually faced quite a big challenge? Because I can imagine building in, say, a church, you've got
Yeah,
to be quite respectful, and you can't be putting holes in walls and digging up stuff.
absolutely. And overall, in second season, we were shooting in these amazing places in Madrid. That, I mean, the locations are amazing, because we were shooting in Museo del Prado, in Prado Museum, which is,
Mm-hmm.
the best museum in Spain. And it's so, I mean, it's so delicate. You have to be exquisite. We were shooting in the monastery in El Escorial, which is also very, very delicate, super delicate. We were shooting in those many places. We were shooting in a place where are all the letters from Christopher Columbus
Wow.
to our queen, in 1492, and we were shooting right there, in that place, in that library. So that we had to build a little door, fake door, to match, to pretend there was another place. So yes, you have to be very, very careful, because we need to keep those locations also happy, so we can come back if we need, ever, but they were incredible places.
So, as I mentioned earlier, that you've worked on so many different types of projects. So, this
Yes.
one is obviously heavily influenced by the Catholic Church. So, what sort of research did you have to do to get that mix of influences that we see on our
Hmm.
screens?
Right. Well, I was raised Catholic first, because I'm from Spain. I went to a Catholic school. So I know very, very well that, for me, is very familiar, all the
Mm,
iconography, from the Catholicism. So also because of all the important work of art that the Catholic Church has, all these amazing churches, amazing cathedrals, amazing paintings, everything that is related, it was really already very familiar to me, and I have a pretty, as I told you, pretty strong base on art, on our history. So so I was very comfortable working on that wall. It wasn't nothing very, like for the Americans, it was completely like very quiche or very,
Mm,
but for me, I don't see it that way because I'm so used to live with it since I am a child, that
mm,
is really included in my life, in my
mm.
iconography. I mean, I'm not Catholic anymore, but I know very well the world.
Yeah, same here. I was brought up Catholic, and I can remember going to school, and we had Italian nuns look after us, and they were very strict. And apparently, my dad used to say I'd come home speaking Italian. I cannot remember it, but it was fun times. But we've got a fan question here from a fan that put a question on Twitter, which goes into
Okay.
what you just said. So once you start looking, she said, religious
Mhm.
imagery is everywhere. Definitely also in the
Yes.
set design. How much did they consciously lean into this when building the set? Was it scripted or was it for just looks?
No. No, it wasn't scripted. It was me. It was me. It was me. What, as I told you before, I mean, I wanted. I think that imaginary, that those images and that iconography, it's so beautiful. It's
Mm,
so beautiful, and I love it. So I definitely said, "Is the moment to use it," and it was really beautiful to have these two worlds, these two completely different sides of the lens, and so yes, definitely was because I wanted, and when Simon was absolutely in for it
mm.
too. So
I
yes.
mean, I mean, the way that you took the old world to the new world, I think was beautiful and stunning. I think, as you mentioned before about the straight lines and the architecture and just the way it looked, I just thought it looked stunning because from myself knowing quite a bit about the Catholic background and seeing those images daily when I was a kid, it was quite nice watching it. It really was. It was something comforting. It's just strange. I mean, I'm not a Catholic anymore. I don't practice, but I've got to say, still going into a Catholic church is still something special. It's like
Totally,
a,
I
a
agree.
sense of peace. It really does, which is
You
lovely.
know, now you are a revolutionary
Mhm.
for saying that. Probably
But
it's not politically very correct to say that anymore. I don't think so.
do you know what? I can say whatever I like on my show.
Exactly,
But
exactly. I agree completely, 100%. But
yeah.
it's true. I mean, what many times I feel, and as I said, no, I'm agnostic. I'm not Catholic anymore. But I do think that you have to be respectful, very
Mm,
respectful, with all, not of course with the Catholics and with all the religions, in general. And I don't know why, specifically with the Catholic, the people thinks that they can do anything and they can, so I did try to be respectful,
mm,
with the thoughts of,
mm,
and I didn't want to, I don't know. I wanted to treat it well and to be beautiful.
mm. And of course, what Warrior Nun is all about testing those boundaries. I think the whole show, I just think it's wonderful on so many levels, on how it addresses certain situations. And another question that came in is, where did you build the set of Ava and Beatrice's apartment? I bet this comes through quite a lot.
Yes, I need to. I'm going to send I promised to send a picture. I didn't do it because I was very busy, but I'm going to do it. It was just a place. It was an empty building that we needed to, because we were shooting the church with the fight, that is with the plastic. We had to do with all this scaffolding with the plastic and that,
Mm,
and because of the need of because we need to shoot that combined with the apartment, we had to do it there in a little, where it was a little bit like abandoned building that was next door. So I built a bit, just a bit of wallpaper and these things. I built the kitchen, and that's where I did it.
Awesome, awesome. And then this next question is actually a really good one because someone's put, I can't wait, obviously, for this interview to be released. Can you ask her about her collaboration with the stunt team and how she provided a balance of safety for them while keeping the set looking no different?
Yes, that's a challenge always, and the stunts, I really like them. I mean, they were so amazing, and they
Mm,
are really good friends, very close friends now, by now, after 2 seasons. And so we know each other very well, and we get along very well. You need really to be all the time also communicate. It's very important. Communication between departments for me is one of the keys that make the film success, because uh, you need to provide them with a lot of things
mm.
for their safety, and for the safety of the actors. So yes, we do, we talk, and definitely they rehearse, and they said, okay, so sometimes it's me who can give them things, like, so they ask me, like, what can I break, what can we do, so I say, okay, this we can make it fake, or this we can break it, or this I can get a breakaway glass, or so we talk about it, and then we decide how do we want, we make a lot of many paint rubber floors for them, so it doesn't look a different floor, and it doesn't look bad, so yes, it's a lot of communication with the stunts.
Well, I'm glad that they asked you what they could break, because can you imagine it? It's like having a bunch of kids
Yes,
in your living room messing about,
they
and they're breaking
oh
everything. You're like,
yes,
no, no, now that's one
they
of us
are
here.
they are a danger.
Well,
But I love them, but I
I'm going
love
to,
them.
I'm going to be having Lee on, the stunt coordinator, on in the week, so I'm sure we're going to dig deep into the world of stunts for Warrior Nun. But so let's talk about the elephant in the room, in the fact that this show hasn't been renewed, which is
Right,
one of the biggest surprising things. And the fans out there have been doing such a stellar job in the way
incredible,
of promoting this show and showing other
amazing.
streaming platforms why they should pick up Warrior Nun. But you've mentioned in other interviews around the sets and the props and what happens after production is finished. So with the show not
Right.
being renewed, are they being kept safe? In case they get picked up by another streaming platform, or do they get just broken down and just literally thrown away?
I don't know. That's a question for Netflix, really, because I have no information of. We did store it normally. If they don't renew, what they do is make it destroy
Mm.
completely. That's what they do
Wow.
normally. I don't. Yes.
But the thing is, though, what I don't get. So the sponsors of my show are a company called Prop Store, that are one of the world's leading auctioneers for movie props and costumes. Um, and what I don't understand, there are many studios out there that actually regain some of the money back by selling on the props and
Yeah.
costumes
Totally.
from the shows. So I think is it
Totally.
Fresco Films that
Yes.
yeah.
Fresco
So
films.
so fingers crossed. I've had people from Prop Store hopefully reach out to Fresco Films to see if there's anything left. There's anything that could be salvaged that maybe the fans can potentially get
Right.
their hands on. But who
I
knows?
mean, Um, I know that Netflix asked for some things, some
Mm,
props and some key props, but I don't know what happened, because I mean Fresco they cannot decide, for themselves. They just do
mm.
whatever Netflix told them to do, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
I don't know. Yeah.
Mm.
So I don't know at this point what happened, if it's destroyed all, or
Oh,
or
do you know
what.
what? It is heartbreaking because I've been on Elstree Film Studios before, where they've filmed stuff, and literally the stuff that you can find in the bins is incredible. It
Yeah, I
really
know.
is. But
No,
did you
no,
keep?
totally.
But did you keep anything from the show as a keepsake? Keepsake?
I have to say no, but yes, I did.
Do you know what? Everyone says no, but yes. And you're allowed.
Yes.
You worked very hard. Is there anything that
Yes.
you can mention, or is it a case of it's undisclosed?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the good thing is that, I have every single design, I have every single picture, I have every single everything, all the work. I could do it tomorrow again, perfectly okay,
Do,
and do
do,
it again.
do you know what? A really good idea is bringing out a book of the art of Warrior Nun, because you see
Well, I
so many films bringing out the art of, with all the production designs and all the artwork and the costume designs. I think that would be an absolutely beautiful book to have. It really would, like a coffee table book of all the artwork. So maybe I throw that out there as a potential idea. But
well, I would love to. I would
that would be
absolutely love
amazing.
to.
That would be amazing. But talking about your whole career, so the last few questions, talking about your whole career, so to date, after 30 years, what has been your crowning moment in the industry? What would you say has been the one thing that you're most proud of?
Oof, that's another difficult question again. Um, I will say one of the things that really impressed me was working for Terry Gilliams.
Oh wow.
It was really amazing, really, really amazing. I was young by then. I mean, I was very young, and we could not make the movie. He made it some few years ago, but it was not the same movie that we try on the. There is a great documentary that is called Lost in La Mancha. That I am there, very, very young, and he's something else. And of course, another is working with Ridley Scott. Ridley
Yeah.
Scott is the master of masters, really master of masters.
And and then apart from your own work in the world of TV and film, what has really impressed you from a production, design point of view from any other shows or films out there?
Also, that's a difficult question too, because so many good works out there. I mean, I love the classics very much, very much. I love American films from the 40s and the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
I love Billy Wilder, and I mean, I think they are amazing, and they were really amazing films. And of course, all the like, for example, Spielberg films. I think the production design in Spielberg's films, it's great because it's my style, because you don't notice that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I can love, I don't know, I can love Wes Anderson, yes, but it's just it's just a so precise style, and it's beautiful. I love it, but Spielberg is film in big letters. You know what I mean? And you don't even notice that there is a set, behind. That's, for me, that's really success. When they don't notice your set, that means that you are successful.
Barbara, you've been a great guest. It's been lovely to have you on, and it's a complete honor. Keep safe, stay super, and
Thank you very
maybe
much.
we can have you on the show again in the future for some future projects that you're working on.
Okay, I will love it. Thank you so much for interview, Brian, and let's cross finger for see what happened with water.
Yes, who knows? Who knows? Fingers
Who
crossed.
knows?